Hello everyone, welcome to round 1 of Blitz Pit 3. We've got Dionysian's Wood Elves versus Good Times Humans. And we're right into the game. Let's get some skulls on. So Dionysian has gone with a treeless Wood Elf build. 2 Wrestle Linos, Blodge Catchers, 1 has Sidestep, Tackle Might, Brawny War Dancer and Strip on the other one. Immediately, the Wood Elves get a next reroll. It's a nice start. The human team very guard heavy, as you'd expect. 4 guard on the blitzers. A very highly skilled ogre, block guard and stand firm. Rackle catcher and a blodge step catcher, as well as a block thrower and a spare. Dionysian also has a leader thrower, bringing him to 3 rerolls, and they both have apples, I think. Yeah. Dionysian's got double fame, and we just saw that he did win a reroll on the first kickoff, so it could be a small advantage to Dionysian to start the game off. First blood to Good Time, as you'd probably expect with him kicking, with him receiving rather. Who I don't think we can tell who kicked or received. I think this probably suits both cultures. I don't know. Maybe Dionysian prefers this. I think Dionysian would have kicked. Maybe Good Time would have kicked as well. Or maybe you would have wanted to start hitting some elves and try and do some damage. You had a fairly wide setup to protect against the Blitz. Something you've always got to consider, especially when you're playing against a team like Wood Elves. Sidestep catcher on the corner to make it hard to go through that direction. Now there's been a deep kick and no Blitz, so the ball is completely safe this turn. He will have to think about next turn. He doesn't want the Wood Elves to come rushing through and to split off the ball, which is quite deep, on a slow catcher, on a slow thrower rather, from the rest of the team, which is all on the LOS. So it'll be interesting to see whether he tries to get some of the team deep, or just tries to screen off the Wood Elf team to stop it getting in behind. No Blitz with the Ogre, no hit at all with the Ogre, which may be a little bit surprising. Given he's got block on him, I thought he might be trying to do some hits with him, rather than just using him as a big strong roadblock. I mean, the block helps with that for sure. In particular, makes it more difficult to upbull him, which is something that may have to happen at some point if he gets in annoying positions. And of course, with a stand firm, you're looking at 1 in 9 to actually get him down with the uphill, because he won't move. If not. But he doesn't go for the hit on turn 1. He just moves him in to put some pressure on the Elves. The Wood Elves respond immediately. Mighty blow Blitz from Dionysian. As you'd expect, Blitz in every turn with a War Dancer, unless he needs to Blitz somewhere else for some kind of reason. 2 skulls on the War Dancer. He's one of them being a double. He's really powerful. Mighty blow attack War Dancer is pretty incredible. So the ball is quite far back, separated from the rest of Good Times' team, but there's a very limited extent to which Dionysian's Wood Elves can split it off. The humans are positioned nicely to stop them from going around the side, so going through the middle. So next turn, Good Time can bring the ball up and get it safe in a big ball of humans with guard. Strip War Dancer is not particularly useful at the moment, given that the ball's on the sure hands. Of course, as the game goes on, the ball may well no longer be on the sure hands. So that War Dancer will bide his time and perhaps be really important later on. Strip ball is a game-winning skill. No, it can be at least. So our first tiny bit of time pressure, just as Dionysian makes these dodges out to screen off a bit. The tournament does have 1 minute turns, so the coaches have to think quickly and play quickly. The Ogre gets straight back up. And I guess the Ogre helps with the time as well. Because if you put an ogre in a bunch of elves, and you don't have to think too much about it every turn, you just stand him straight up. The elves might have to think a little bit about how they deal with him that turn. A little bit of thinking from good time as to where he puts the ball. As far away, as far up the pitch as possible, while being as far away from the war dancers as possible. It's pretty good. It's pretty sensible. At this stage, you don't want it staying back anymore, because it will be easy now for the wood elves to get through. Or it could be. He could have screened it off, but I like getting forwards, keep it with the rest of the team, since it's a fairly slow player. But at the same time, he keeps it away from the majority of the elves on this side of the pitch. Is this going to be the blitz target, I wonder? One of these blitzes. Guard on the corners. Means that if he makes this cage complete, then there's nothing better than an uphill that Dionysian can get on the ball. And he does blitz this elf. Gets him with the both downs. Block is such a fantastic skill. So Dionysian has some options. He could play quite aggressively. The ogre and one other human is split up from the rest of the human team, so potentially we might see a whole load of elves between these two pockets of the human team, splitting them up. In fact, there's another human over there. So the human team could get a bit split up here, and then the part with the ball could end up a little bit isolated, surrounded by elves. At this stage with the ball so safe, there's no sack on whatsoever, I'd say. As the game progresses and gets a bit more broken up, that's when when Dionysian might start looking for a hit on the ball. The one dice gets the catch away from the ogre, and he gets the bonus of pow and an armor break. Although he doesn't actually move the catcher. I guess he's going to go for the ogre hit, and he does, bringing in more assists. I'm not sure how much I like fighting the ogre. So good time chooses to stand firm. I guess perhaps to deny it another 2 dice from this tower. And he buries up more elves down here. I'm not sure how much I like fighting the ogre. I feel like this is a bit of a trap. This is almost playing into good time's hands. 3 dice on a catcher is really nice with the tackle mighty blow. And Dionysian does go for the early greed reroll, looking for that pow. Of course, he did get a reroll at kickoff, and he came into the game with 3 rerolls, courtesy of his thrower leader skill. Wherever that's gone, there he is. Clock just about running out. So there's a bit of a hole here, right? But given that the catcher has sidestep, it's going to be tricky for good time to clear it. And since the throw is quite slow, it's not going to be easy to get the ball through. Not that he needs to. Turn 3. He can afford to sit back and take his time. There are 2 humans stunned this turn, so he certainly can't think of doing anything rowdy, I'd say. And he's also got to be worried about next turn, because suddenly the elves have an advantage in players. It is in fact 10 versus 10 on the pitch. So with the humans stuns, then the elves could get pretty rowdy next turn and put on a lot of pressure. I'd strongly consider not activating the ogre for that reason. Given that he's going to be under a lot of pressure, he wants to try to avoid that as much as possible. Even though, sure, the elves can just dodge away from the ogre or potentially make a 2D on him, it does take up some player actions. It does help to prevent some of the pressure might be coming in if the ogre boneheads. I don't think you can take that risk this turn. That's an elf down with the block again. And that's one elf that can't act next turn. So that helps a little bit. Another elf on the floor. So again, dionysian could move to split off this group of humans with the ball from the rest of the team. He could leave the ogre on one elf or just dodge all the elves out and screen off. Given that the humans are pushing down the pitch a little bit, he's making a bit of a screen. The two elves and probably more elves in behind make it more or less impossible for the humans to get through. At this stage they're not going to take any risks and try to make any rally dodges. Another mighty blow blitz for Dionysian. This mighty blow is getting a lot of use, as it should. Now I suspect we won't see the ogre punch this turn. I'm not sure I liked it last turn and this turn in particular with the humans moving down the pitch. He's just dodging the elves out to screen off and potentially to split these two parts of the team up from one another. He does go for the lineman, which is fair enough. Well, it does leave the ogre the ability to recombine with the rest of the team. Although he might have been able to manage that with a blitz on any screen that was here anyway. So the game is building fairly nicely. A bit of skirmishing between the teams. Nothing too crazy yet, as you'd expect. As you move towards the business end of the half, as the humans are forced to try and get within scoring range and push through the elves, then we might see some more dice being thrown. And the humans just content to move up the pitch a little bit. Blitz and elf every turn. They've still got plenty of time. So for sure there's no pressure on yet. Seems a little bit of a pity that one of these doesn't have mighty blow. Because as it is, then Dionysian's War Dancer with mighty blow has a better chance of damaging a human than a human does damaging an elf without mighty blow. So potentially humans could find themselves down players, and if you're down players against wood elves, then you could start to be in trouble. If you're equal players against wood elves, then you could start to find yourself in trouble. Having said that, the guard is very nice. And having so much of it does make Good Time's life a lot easier. Again, choosing not to fight the ogre. He went for him once early on and now he's decided it's best just to leave him alone, which I think is the right call. Of course, if he'd blocked the ogre turn 1 or turn 2 and killed him, then it would then it would look much different. But of course, I don't think the chance of doing that is worth taking the hits. So he does leave a hit on an elf and takes a 1 dice and rolls a skull. So perhaps the humans here think about switching the play. So they go towards the ogre, towards the middle of the pitch. They can punch a couple of elves. Maybe get a lineman or 2. Maybe the catcher. Down the pitch. Keep the bulk of the humans here. Make a nice screen along the side of the elf formation. Make it a little bit difficult. Not impossible, but a little bit difficult for the elves to get round and screen off on this side. I suspect we will probably see the ball moving towards the centre of the pitch. Oh, he's going for the leader throw, which is a nice target, of course. Although dionysian has used his first reroll this half, meaning that losing the leader won't lose him a reroll. There is, of course, a second half to play. Good Time doesn't get a power, and especially with the ball exposed, he doesn't go for the greedy roll. Although perhaps he did think about it for a moment and just paused on the block there. It would have been an uphill to hit the ball, but it's still not nice to leave it on without any dodgers to roll to get in. It's a 1 in 4 chance straight up with the wrestle lineman. So we do see some humans getting a bit further down the pitch. Since this elf is still up, it's a bit difficult to get more players through, but this is pretty good. I guess the ogre stayed there in case there was a push. Maybe he would have taken another hit on the line elf. Given that he wasn't, I suspect he'll move. And he also... oh no, he just goes back to mark those elves. Fair enough. I wondered for a moment if he was going to get forward a little bit. But it kind of makes a bit of a screen, a bit of a tunnel really, here for the humans to run through next turn. You've got the guard and the lineman here, the ogre on the other side. It's difficult for the elves to stop the humans being able to progress a bit next turn. Jim Joe Blood, hello, welcome to chat. I've been streaming for good question, about a week and a half I think. I've been streaming some necromantic mainly in CCL, and I was very kindly asked by Canadic if I'd like to cast a couple of games for Blitz Pit, which of course I would because it's a fantastic tournament. And I think we're going to see some fantastic games. And Dionysian goes in with a mighty blow once again. Knocking down a guard, still no more removal check. On either side, 10 versus 10 I think. Yep. One lineman each taken out. And he does get fairly aggressive. He's decided it's time to put a lot of pressure on the humans. He goes in for the old man's basing. Gets a blodge step on the ball. Bases up a lot of the other human players. Almost all the human players have at least one elf based on them. Of course, with the guard and with the strength advantage the humans have, Good Time should be able to clear most of these elves, and he should be able to make some kind of protection for the ball. Yeah, so this line of dodge, Dionysian's re-rolling because he wants to put maximum pressure on this turn. So if he's got elves on the floor, that doesn't do that. He just marks the catcher because I guess one option Good Time would have would be to score this turn. Of course the catcher could go somewhere as an assist, whereas now Good Time will be really reluctant to roll the feeblest dodge with the ball in such danger. But he does have 2Ds to take. And like I said, he should be able to get the ball fairly safe. And with 2 turns to go, he doesn't have to worry too much about scoring just yet. He does have time. The ball is already in range, although of course he wants not to end up stood behind the screen of elves. Make a mess. Yeah, it's true. I guess if you had 2 or 3 minutes, then it would be pretty easy to make a cage with 1 minute with the pressure on. Maybe it's maybe it's going to be a bit tougher. I'm not participating in Blitz Pit, Jim Joe. I wasn't able to, unfortunately. I've got family dinner tomorrow, so got to attend that. Unfortunately, we would be much rather playing the Blitz Pit, but there you go. So I'm just streaming a few games tonight instead. Ooh, first bonehead of the game. Is he considering re-rolling? I guess he has got other blocks to take, hasn't he? Where is the ball going? Is it just going to stay around here? Is he going to try and block these elves off? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where was the other going, I wonder? Can't get in there. Maybe it was just going to be an assist for this hit. So this is could be a little bit of a problem, as ADev says. Maybe not being able to stabilise completely. So based cage. Can Dionysian find a way in? So the 1D on the War Dancer helps a lot. This guy doesn't have block, so potential uphill. Uphill with a catcher. 2D this guy for POW, 1D on the ball. Of course, this has to be a push, I guess. Both down's not good enough. But both down isn't a critical failure, so might be something to think about. Or Dionysian could just put a load of pressure on again, base up as many humans as possible, take a mighty blow blitz. Can't go wrong with a 2D mighty blow blitz every turn. Looking for a power on the catcher. A wrestler would have been okay as well, although maybe you'd have wanted another elf to come and stand on him. Maybe a wrestle wouldn't have been ideal. Okay, where's the War Dancer going? Just going for the 2D, fair enough. Put more pressure on. Now Good Time has to worry this turn, because he's only got 2 turns left. He has to put something in place that gives him a decent chance of scoring next turn. Of course, at the same time, he's got to keep things safe, because the worst possible result is that the Wood Elves turn you over and score, which they can still do, despite being quite deep. I think even these catchers are in range, are they? Yeah, no problem. They can just go where they want, can't they? Wood Elves are very, very fast. Now there are a couple of humans on the floor, maybe slightly more than last turn. I think there was 1 on the floor last turn. So Dionysian made a mess, and he's been slightly rewarded for it. He's been able to make maybe more of a mess this turn. Really, ADev, Dionysian will have been working on his internal turn clock for a week or so. Yeah, I think I heard him joke about it. I wasn't sure whether it was a joke or not. Hard to tell with Dionysian sometimes. So that's interesting. You think he'll have been doing it? I mean, good play from him. There are $175 up for grabs. Dionysian did win the first Blitz Pit, and in Blitz Pit 2 he came 3rd, so he definitely knows what he's doing. And getting in some practice, never a bad thing. So I think we'll just move off to the side. The catcher's in range, needs a GFI. Thrower, sorry, not catcher. This catcher is definitely in range. The worry for Good Time will be, especially with the clock running down, the pressure from Dionysian telling. The worry will be How does he stop the Elves from screening him off? So he does have the catchers behind enemy lines. So he's probably going to be relying on some kind of handoff play. Because it might not be too difficult for Dionysian to screen off the thrower, the fairly slow thrower. But then again, he does have to make a choice, Dionysian, between how much he goes after the catchers and how much he tries to screen off the thrower. So it's not a terrible position, I don't think, for Good Time to be in. Dionysian's got to think about this, and obviously he's not got a whole lot of time to think about it. It might be pretty tricky for him to stop the score from here. A lot of Elves still over kind of the wrong side of the pitch. Good Time managed to make a nice move away from them. Of course, they are very fast. But there are some screens going on. There are dodges to make. If we get a double one at some point, that could be big trouble. So scoring threat right in from Dionysian. Pretty optimistic, I'd say. I think at this point my focus would be on throwing everything into protecting. Is he going for the hit? 4 plus 1D? No, that's 5 plus 1D. No, it's 4 plus 1D. Or what? Yeah, it looks like he's going for the... makes the 4 plus. Doesn't get the 4 plus 1D. Wrestle is a decent enough result. Does he re-roll it? Big call. Of course, he still has 15 seconds to decide each action. Doesn't go for the re-roll. So now he has to think... backup plan, how do I try and stop him from scoring? But with the players committed to the sack, it might not be easy. Of course, the fact that the Elf is basing the throw does help. If you make a screen and you base the ball, then your opponent only has 1 Blitz to deal with that, so you're going to have to make a dodge somewhere. Strength 3 tackle on the Strength 2 dodger. Another 1, and this time we do get the Snake Eyes. Oh, that was a 3 plus dodge actually, so that wasn't even a Snake Eyes. He was trying to dodge through, maybe mark up this catcher. So Good Time has options, right? He does have options. He has 2 players here he can free up. Nothing's completely easy. You can clear the war dance to blitz this guy. Punch this one with the ogre. Yeah, I think I don't think it's the worst thing to go for if you want to do this as part of the play. So if the ogre boneheads, then I'm not sure you lose too much. Catch is also bracketed by this other elf, so not going to be able to do a whole lot with him. Okay, so clears the ball. If he got a POW, we could use this guy to assist against the war dancer hit, but he doesn't. Or he could go through this way. He could just go straight through this way. Wow, I didn't even see that. Gets the POW on the reroll to clear the path. 55% for the POW. No, he has wrestle. 75% for the POW. So probably that was worth going for, but he does leave him 2 GFIs without the reroll. I think this is now the only play left, right? Even if he could hand off to one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe it's not. Yeah. Pass it to the catcher. That's nice, isn't it? One. Doesn't have to make a GFI. Gets rerolls for both the pass and the catch. Great play. Good Time scores. The humans go 1 up. Now let's see if Dionysian can respond with a 1 turn. Will be interesting to see how Good Time defends. He does have a stand firm and a side set, so he can make life difficult for Dionysian. but he doesn't have the crucial third stand firm or sidestep, so there's almost certainly, especially with a leap and the edge 4, going to be options on for Dionysian to try and score a one-turner. Of course, we could see a riot, but you don't play for that as Dionysian. I think you go all in on the one-turner. After all, if you set up for one turner and you get a riot, then you're probably in business anyway, especially with Wood Elves. He has a thrower to pick the ball up and potentially pass it if it's a deep kick. One turner's the target's going to be the side stepper. Much easier to get the first push and potentially further pushes. With the spin, he only needs to move 2 squares. Wood Elf catchers do start with a lot of skills, and all of them are pretty decent. He's running out of time here on the setup. Good Time gave him a little bit to think about. So the curtain of humans makes it a little bit hard to get a blitz in. The only one he can realistically blitz is this guy. So coming from the sides on the ogre or the side stepper isn't good enough. He has to somehow move this human to be pushed into the catcher. And it gets the high kick and catch with the catcher. That's nice, isn't it? Gets the reroll on the catch. So is he going to try and power this this catcher, I wonder? Nope, just goes straight in for the leap and the push. So we see the whole method from Dionysian. My view has gone crazy, so I can't really see what's going on. I think we got a push on the reroll. I think it was a 1 in 9. Why is this happening? I've never played with animations before. Okay, we're back. So he gets the first push of 2 pushes and then a pow. Goes to the hand of now before the catcher gets potentially based up by maybe 3 humans, maybe even 4. So that's a good move. And now gets the pow. And I think that's it. He needed 1 more push. So is it possible to do anything with the side stepper? No. He can't make the side stepper go the way he wants him to go. So I think that's the one turner over. And in fact that's probably the turnover. Oh yes, he punches the guy. Tries to hurt him. Good Time steps away so he doesn't get another hit. And we go into the second half. Good Time gets his reserve back. I think Dionysian already had his elf. No, his elf missed 2 KO rolls. Somewhat unfortunate. So Dionysian is on 10 men. So Good Time has the score. He's denied the one turner, and he's a man up. So he's in the dragon seat. However, can't really rule the Wood Elves out. These games do have overtime. So if Dionysian makes the score and Good Time can't return it, then we'll be going into another 8 turns overtime. But there's a long way to go before that happens. I think the Good Time went out of time there on the setup. Slightly imbalanced setup. He has the Rackler back as a safety. Gone for a fairly broad setup, I guess, because he's not too worried about protecting his players. All his players are of fairly equal value. Probably the guards. I guess you could argue for the Blodge Step Catcher, but probably the guard blitzers are his most valuable players, and he's got to expose at least one of them with the traditional rule of 5 setup. So you might as well expose them all and go for a more aggressive defensive setup. And there is a blitz, although Dionysian's slightly rowdy setup has covered the ball pretty well. The ball runs right behind the LOS full Elves. So Dionysian going slightly aggressive with the setup, looking to take a lot of blocks potentially on the LOS, at the expense of leaving one side wide open. He is down an elf, so it's a little bit difficult to make a secure defense as you'd like. But he could have probably sacrificed some of these elves in the middle to go on the LOS. To go on the flanks, on this flank. So Good Time has to think about the ball here, right? I'd say 3 dice this cash maybe. Try and get a blitz around. Oh, a chain, very nice. If he got a POW, then that would be 1 extra square of movement he'd saved. Doesn't get the POW. One GFI to get under the ball. He goes to the GFIs with the first blitzer. I guess to base the ball, or to base the ball falling location. Fair enough. When you get an event like this, you're playing against Wood Elves. You know, you're gonna have to take some risks. Trying to exploit the blitz, certainly not a bad idea. I think I would have certainly gone for the GFI with this blitzer. Whether or not I'd have GFI'd this one, I'm not so sure. Maybe he could have just got in on some elves. He does make the GFI with this blitzer. And he does catch the ball. Of course, somewhere there's a war dancer right at the back. So this guy is nice. He doubles as a ball carrier, ball retriever, and the stripper. In case something like this happens, this guy's almost guaranteed to be free. To try to get the ball back out of the Wood Elves' hands. Almost failed to dodge right there. Interesting that he goes for some moves before attacking the ball. He did have an assist from the stripper himself. Is he going to try and push the ball in this direction rather than towards the blitzer? Or maybe he just wants this war dancer to retrieve on. Carrying the ball on a strength 3 blodge guy is a lot better than carrying it on a strength 2 blodge guy, I guess. Does get the ball down. Of course, a push would have been enough with the strip ball, though POW makes it easier. And the Kaz is a very nice bonus. So the Elves are now 10 on 10 with the humans. Ada, I'm not sure you like the GFI. You mean the first one, right, with the blitzer? I think it was worth going for the second one, right? I think it was worth getting the blitzer under the ball. But yeah, I'm not too sure about the first one. Not when he could have just stood on a bunch of elves anyway and made some pressure. He wasn't even guaranteed to be standing next to the to the ball if it's scattered, and Dionysian potentially could have pushed the ball away from him on the blitz anyway. So the ball is in something of a cage. The blitzer does make a nice bracket for some of the elves on the LOS, and Dionysian was left with making a 1D block instead of trying to 3+2+ dodge some of the elves out. And now the front of the cage is obviously in trouble. The question is, how easy will it be for Good Time to get a hit on the ball? How many of these will be POWs? Which players will he have left over to make the hit? Does he go with a Rackle? Can he get any assists? Will he activate the Ogre? He does want a guard, doesn't he? Well, the Ogre itself is guard. But a POW would also be really nice. So maybe you greed the 3D Ogre hit and then get this guard in. He does, although I guess actually you don't need the guard now. I thought I might put a guard there. But I guess he had no choice with a push on this elf, with a power on this elf. He had to go in one square, so it was better to go in this square. So these are the 3 squares that Good Time can assist from. And the square in which the elf is now laying is would need a guard to assist. So there are now 2 completely free squares. So I think this catcher needs shifting now, right? He gets the assist in with the guard from around here. Does he go for the Rackle or the 2D? I think you go for the Rackle, right? That's just a 4+. He's looking for the POW. Doesn't want to push, of course. Oh wait, no, he doesn't have sidestep. Ooh. Well, I think you've got a... Did Good Time mistake this for a sidestep catcher? Because now he can't get in, right? He can't get in. But with a push that he chose not to take. Or maybe it was a misclick. Maybe it was a misclick. Maybe he saw his own sidestep and thought it was the elf with sidestep. That's a little bit of a mistake there. Maybe the time contributed to it. But a push could have left the catcher out of position and allowed the Rackle in. The 0-second blitz coming in, and in the end just has to take a hit on a line elf. Yes, of course. After blitzing with a War Dancer, maybe 8 turns out of 8. After blitzing with a Mighty Blow War Dancer, I think 8 turns out of 8 in the first half. Dionysian's first cast comes from his non-Mighty Blow War Dancer, which of course has the hidden Mighty Blow. And usually I would take a guard catcher, I think. I don't have a lot of experience with the res tournaments, so at the end of the day I don't really know what I'm talking about. But a guard catcher seems like it fits a bit better with Woodies. Having said that, especially since you can get the double as well as the normal, although I guess a block guard catcher would equally benefit, having a Mighty Blow tackle guy does seem nice. So, with the hit not coming in, Dionysian makes the dodge. Takes down the guard for the turn. And he's got a couple of elves to screen off. Another one that can dodge out. So he can make a fairly decent cage or screen. As long as he makes this dodge. And this guy can come out on a 3+2+. And maybe he can... oh no, this guy's got a 2+ out. So this guy can come out. And this guy, in fact. Both of these can get out fairly easily. Interesting that he goes for this one first. What happened if this one failed? If this one fails and he lands there, then there's no way through for the elves. I mean, for the humans. So that was a nice dodge. If the War Dancer had failed, then there would have been dice on the ball. And instead he takes the hit with the War Dancer. So that was a nice choice of dodges, I think. Falling over, elf would still keep a screen. This falling over elf does not keep a screen. He gets removed, and the Apple comes in, as you'd expect. Badly hurt. Prime target of the Apple. Dionysian could have considered saving it for a KO this half, since if this is the last drive of the game, then obviously the badly hurt is irrelevant. Maybe appling a future KO would have helped with his drive, which he's obviously very important for him to score on. However, as what else, you've got to back yourself to score, and you thinking this catcher is going to be really useful for whatever comes after this drive. So I think that was absolutely the right place for the Apo. Yeah, bit of an error earlier on there with Good Time's hit on the catcher. So usually you get 0 doubles on Woodies. Leader 3. Fair enough. With 1 minute turns. Yeah. Can help put the pressure on. What do you think about the no tree ADEV? I've never played Wood Elves in Res or in CCL without a tree. I understand that it's a perfectly viable build, but I don't really know how it goes. I feel like maybe you can come under a lot of pressure more easily. Not that the tree is a massive help with that, but it does give you a bit of a focal point. So I was slightly surprised not to see a tree man. I do like the tree man. Oh, that was the catcher. I was wondering why it was only 2 dice. Doesn't even need the tackle. Gets the power on the catcher, who goes down. Running out of time slightly. Hasn't moved the guards. Gets the guard in. Has a bit of a screen. What's the ogre doing? Ooh, it's another bonehead. I wonder if he was going for this hit. Gets the skull. I think we've had 2, 1. No, we've had more than 2. We had a fairly high rate of skulls in one die blocks. So with the ogre boneheaded, dionysian can potentially get the ball out of here. You could even go up this side, get this catcher in, punch this catcher and blitz through with the ball. Either way, I think we're probably going to see him on this side of the pitch with a screen between him and the elves. I mean, between him and the humans. When you're given this kind of opportunity, especially against good coaches, you want to try and get through. Does go for the catcher blitz and doesn't get the power. He does leave himself a dodge. Catcher blitz slightly more risky perhaps, because of course a 1 in 9 is trouble. You like the tree. He's basically a... Oh, in terms of the price, you mean? Yeah, he is pretty expensive, I guess. I think whenever I had one, I always ended up with like 2 rerolls or something. And 3 rerolls is very nice with a leader. Although I guess if you have leader on the tree, then that's your 3rd reroll. But then maybe you don't get an Apo, because Dio's managed to get 3 rerolls and an Apo, which seems like quite a lot. Which I guess is helped by not having the tree. So he made the dodge out of the catcher, and he's got a nice cage. Doesn't have to worry too much about the dodgings. Of course, he's left some 5+s on. He's left a 5+ on, but a 5+ into a 1 in 4 sack isn't great. Surely at this stage of the game, Good Time wouldn't commit a reroll to it. So I don't think he'd go for the play. And with the Wood Elves broken through, it's going to be tricky for the humans to stop them, or going to be pretty much impossible for the humans to stop them. The question is, will Good Time be able to force dionysian into scoring early? So the humans are on 10. The Elves are on 8 now, since the Kaz, the Apoed Kaz, and then a KO. Can't remember when that happened actually. But it does mean the Elves are down 2 compared to the humans. So the humans can put pressure on. And there is a lot of time left. 4 turns for dionysian to stall. So we may end up seeing an early score, depending on how Good Time can do. How the ogre behaves could be a big part of that. If the ogre can get in some nice places, that could really put some pressure on. Mighty Blow versus 87 versus 1 in 9 versus removing Rackle. Yeah, true. I guess he is the Mighty Blow one, isn't he? And he's got tackle, so having the hit on the catcher is nice, isn't it? Absolutely. He isn't 87. There's some tabletop information. Of course, as far as I know, no play tabletop, but I think the human catchers are 87 in tabletop, right? They got buffed to 88 and on Blood Bowl 2. Not sure why they got changed and not much else did, but there you go. But either way, still was a nice hit. His only tackle piece, his only wrestle piece. Someone just failed GFI. This guy. Wrestle with this war dancer. Puts this guy on the ground, means it's hard for him to get places, which is a good idea if you're going to be running away with the ball. AB7 is 60k. Wow, how much? Are they 80k on Blood Bowl 2? Did they make them 20k more expensive? Or are they only 70k? Maybe they're only 70k. Surely they're only 70k. They can't have made them 20k more expensive for AB8, can they? Maybe they're only 70k. Placing yoga that far north. I think north is fine. Maybe you wanted them a little bit more central, like from an east-west perspective. But I think it was difficult getting more central. But certainly I think north is fine because Dionysian's not going backwards at this point, I think. Because he's fast enough to. He could have potentially gone back and made some kind of screen. And certainly lesser the chance that he's forced to stall, but at the expense of absolutely increasing the chance that he doesn't score at all. So if you go back at this point with a two-man disadvantage, with not a million, well, with not a whole load of turns left, of course you never have a million turns left in Blood Bowl, unless you're playing Rebel, then, well, in fact you always have the same amount of turns as any other Blood Bowl. Then you might end up not scoring, and you'd rather score early than not score at all. So I think the ogre's fine going up. Being more central would be nice, but I think it was hard to do. This turn we'll see him moving into the pack of elves, I guess. Catch it down. So there's a nice hole now to base all of the elves. Interesting that he moves the Rackle away. I wonder if this is in anticipation of the elves coming over to this side of the board. I don't expect it's just to keep it safe because I think at this point you just want to put on as much pressure as possible. You just still have the apple left as well. So one option might have been to have him standing on a dodge guy. Oh, wow, running out of time for good time. He's got to make some moves. Got to get his humans in quickly. Does the ogre move? The ogre doesn't move. That's good news for Dionysian, of course. And so with all the humans over this side, it is nice to have the catcher here. Just making a bit of threat against Dionysian switching over this side a bit. If this guy was around here, then it would be pretty straightforward to dodge out a couple of elves, make a bit of a screen, get into the stall. So now can Dionysian stall? I don't think he can, right? I don't think he can. I guess he. So with a POW, you can get the screening now, and the war dancer can just about get behind the screen. The problem is he's got to get this guy out. I think, right? One elf here, and what? One elf here. The elf's got to be here. So he needs this guy out as well. Can this guy get round? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. GFI? GFI? Pops dodge. So just bases the catcher, I think, now. Maybe he would have carried on going if he didn't pop dodge. And here's the big one, right? 3 plus 2 plus. He does need this, right? I'm not crazy. I mean, I guess he's just counting on good time not rolling a pow. It's just the 1 GFI to get 2 dice. He doesn't do the dodgers. I mean, I guess the retrieval's not easy, right? But then, if he gets the pow and the ball has a bad scatter, a catcher could get it, an ogre could stand on it. Scoring at this point is really bad, right? And with the humans having 5 turns left, or with the humans having 4 turns left, you back them to score. So it's fair enough going for the stall, but does seem a little bit rowdy. Yes, it is spicy. It's very spicy. Hey, Crystal Hunter, hello. Oh no, first loss in the bag. Sorry to hear that. When I played the first Blitz bit, I lost my first game, and then I lost my second game, and went home. 0-2. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you. But it's hard to win games. It's always hard to win games in Blood Bowl, and especially in a competition like this with some fantastic coaches. But good luck with your second game anyway. I guess none of the round 2 games will start yet, right? Until all the round 1 games over. Dio's going to be disappointed. Yeah. He hasn't done a whole lot. I mean, with dionysian blitzing with the mighty blow guy, and good time not having the mighty blow, or at least not blitzing with it, then he really would have thought it could be up men. So dionysian goes to hit. He uses the wheel on the GFI and doesn't get the pow. So probably the stall paid off from dionysian. He's still got dice to roll. It's going to be hard to clear these humans, isn't it? We roll a guard with a stand firm ogre. Is there going to be a 3+ involved? There might be. Blitz through the catcher, but then that's an uphill, right? I guess if you could get a couple of assists in, maybe 1 assist, another elf goes by the wayside. Fully marked up to turn 13. Rolled your quads beautifully. Well, if you're going to roll quads, then you want to roll them beautifully, right? Both res and 1 minute turns. I'm not a massive fan of like long format res tournaments, but I do like the weekend res tournaments. I mean, you couldn't really have a development tournament over a weekend, right? A non-res tournament over such a small number of games, and I do like having sort of a tournament over a couple of days. That seems really nice. So, okay, if you're out, we'll see what you can do. Well, I have faith in you. I want to see an all J-Men final, so you've got to give that to us. So he does go for the 3+ dodge with the non-ball war dancer. So a bit safer than just going straight for the 3+ dodge with a wall dancer holding the ball. Gets the 2D on the blitz, it clears in. So will he try and stall again? To be honest, this turn it's easier to stall than it was last turn. So I guess we'll see a stall, right? Sideline cage? Wow, he can't sideline it though, right? Surely. No, he doesn't. But then he's got the 3+2+ here with the dodge guy. And then he's gonna have to make the 3+2+ this time, right? He's gonna have to make the 3+2+ with a line out that he didn't make last time. Yeah, he does, and he gets it. So the ball's pretty good now. When he pushed the catcher, what was he thinking about there? There we go, Another elf down. And another human down. And again, it's not the war dancer. Apo in for good time on the MNG. Gets the no casualty. Very nice for him. Stays at 11 men. Again, a random elf catching a guy rather than Mighty Blow. So yeah, where was this catcher going? Was he thinking whether to put him on this elf or not? Can't remember exactly what was going on. Was he thinking about it blocking the cage corner? Just where it was going to go. Okay, fair enough. He was just thinking through the rest of his turn that was going to come. Maybe he was thinking through whether or not to go for the stall or not, I guess. There's no way he considered the score. Okay. I guess with how rowdy he was the turn before, then he wasn't going to be any less rowdy this turn. Can be frustrating when you push elves, or when elves end up in the last bit of the pitch and you're just trying to force the ball out of their hands or trying to force them to stall, but they just seem to slip through your fingers every time. So good time might be a little bit disappointed that he hasn't managed to get the score out of dionysian. Again, running low on the clock. Got to get these players in. Brackets the lino. Well, in the end, I think it was actually slightly harder in the end, right? Because he had to make the 3+2+ with a dodge guy. The stall last turn compared to 2 turns ago. He had to make the 3+2+ with a dodger and the 3+2+ with the lino. The turn before, he only had to make the one 3+2+ with a lino, and he seemed to sort of not be a massive fan of that, and just chose to make a block, which was maybe not so relevant compared to the dodgers. But then there wasn't that much difference in it. So given that he did stall that turn, I guess he was always likely to stall again. Filthy. That's what else for you. So rolling some ones on the first dice of each dodge, but all of the dodge on the wood elves, part of what makes them so good, means that he's fine. So nice bonus power with this 1D. So is he blitzing through now? Another mighty blow hit on the Rackler as well. So if he was thinking about scoring, now it's kind of trouble, right? Well, it's another 3+2+, or not. So not scoring, I guess. Or maybe he just goes to the ogre. Or maybe just goes back. Yeah, fair enough. Getting him is pretty nice. He's kind of got a screen now behind, and he gets to take the block. So even if this blitzer had managed to punch this elf and get stood next to the war dancer, he's got a screen around all the action that's going on here. Power here could be interesting. Cancel this. Power this catcher. I guess it'd have to be an uppull. No, it wouldn't. Power the catcher, get the ogre in. 1D with a rackle. This catcher picks it up. Ooh, could see an interesting turn here. Reroll burn. Doesn't get the power on the catcher. Oh, we can go again with the ogre, although then he not have a guard to get in. Still doesn't get the power. These elves are standing up, keeping the ball safe. Yeah. I mean, you say get rid of it. I think at this point, good time isn't going to throw it away, right? I don't think I would in his position. I think it would take a massive opportunity on the ball. to tempt me into the reroll. But like I said, it is a consideration. If Good Time does use the reroll, it's a pretty massive advantage. 15 easy and ends up 2-0 up. So here comes the POW on the war dancer. And that does leave 1D on the ball. But only with the blodge step catcher. So I guess he won't take it. Another KO'd elf. I mean, the humans have got their fair share of hits in. I think I'd say more than the elves so far, but it's hard to say. More 1Ds coming in. Another stun. So oh, this is turn 16, so there's no more stall anymore. So let's have a look at the score. What have we got? It's tricky. It is tricky, isn't it? I think there's nothing. I mean, you can't think about the ogre moving whatsoever, so the ogre is definitely staying there. Try and POW this guy, but if you don't, then he makes things more difficult. Now just go for the leap. Fair enough. A lot of 3+s. Gets the leap. Some dodges now. One more 3+, and 2+. Dodge reroll, but no team reroll. Surely this is it, right? This is. Wait, what? Ah, clever. Is that worth it? I guess so. I guess so. That was nice, wasn't it? So he had the 3+, 2+ with dodge, or he had the block and then a 2+ dodge. Well, a block and then a 2+ dodge on the 3+, or still doing the 3+, 2+ on a 2+. Whew. It's a close one. I don't know if Dionysian worked that out. Maybe he knew exactly the answer. He paused. Maybe he was working out, or maybe he was just using his intuition. That's a close one. I'm tempted to but that is hard to work that one out. It was a close one. I mean, 3+. I mean, if you make the 3+, you made the dodge anyway. Yeah, if you make the 3+, you've made the dodge anyway. And if you don't make the 3+, then you're gonna have to make another 3+, or you've turned over. So was it better just to go for the dodge? Was it better just to go straight for the dodge, the 3+, 2+ dodge? That's an interesting one. I think that's one I'll have to think about it a bit. Maybe try and work it out afterwards. To me, it's not obvious which one was better, but I think the straight up dodge was better. Yeah, no, I'm not sure either. I'm suspecting the dodge, but then again, Dionysian obviously thought he was the Blitz, so the hit. Yeah, you have the JFI Blitz on. You know my eat roll, it's not a big deal. You mean the eating of the reroll or the Blitz itself? I mean, it could be a pretty big deal, right? I mean, I guess you're saying there's not really actually that much chance that he manages to get the ball away. Yeah. To be honest, well, my gut said it was close. I mean, when I saw him do it, after originally thinking, why is he stopping? I thought, oh wow, that's genius. But now I'm not so sure. But it looked good, and that's what's most important. All right, so the 1-turn. So has Dionysian made this a little bit easy for him? He's not made any effort to stop the blocks coming in, which is the hardest part. Just gone for the back line. And it's 4+ dodges through. Not impossible. Ooh, no, this is fine. Ideally he's not removed. I guess he can full it though, so it's fine. Get another guy round, another block. This seems like a little bit too easy, maybe. I feel like more of the focus here should have been on stopping the pushers. Maybe it wasn't that easy. He could go with the ogre here, right? He could go with the ogre. The 3... I guess he gets a 3D anyway. 3, 4... Yeah, he gets a 3D anyway. Yeah, and he... No, he wants to... He needs to re-roll it. Of course he doesn't go with the ogre. That's a terrible idea. He does go with the ogre. He gets the 1 in 27. But I guess he doesn't re-roll it anyway. Would you? No, I don't think you would. If this was the lineman, would you re-roll it? I don't think so. It's still fairly unlikely. So a little bit unfortunate there for good time, I think. I think maybe Dio didn't need to leave on such an easy set of pushers. Yeah, he did leave it really simple, didn't he? I thought it was pretty simple. I mean, he was what, 12s down? Won't skip this one. He was 12s down, I guess. So you maybe can't make it as difficult as if you had more. But I think it was probably, could have made it more difficult than that, right? Who wins the toss? Of course, massive. The humans win the toss. The humans win the toss. The game is in Good Time's hands. Switch view. I think we were on the wrong view for one of those drives, were we? Yeah, probably. I'm not sure. Oh well, we're on the human view now. Since they are attacking, they won the toss. They chose to receive, as you usually do when you win the toss in overtime. The game tells us the fan factor again, in case we forgot, and whatever it is, in case we forgot. This looks like... Oh yeah, it does say very sunny. Okay. No. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, it's the most reliable defense, right? If you're rushing and you think you might not have time to set it up nicely, then it's the most reliable thing to do. Because you know you're going to get defense that good. If you try and set up something more difficult and you screw it up, then you might just leave something even easier on. We had the wrong move with the humans. Yeah, I thought we might. Oops. Another reroll for Dionysian. That extra Thyme working out well for him. So he does get 3 rerolls now. So in a way, it's good for the game. It's good for the match that the humans won the toss. No bias, but if the Woodies had won, then especially if they'd got the extra reroll kickoff event, then you'd think it's probably pretty much over. It would be difficult for the humans to stop them, I think, even with the Woodies being a man down. Their ability to score is pretty high. Now, I think the humans are strong favourites, but the 3 rerolls versus 1 does make things a little bit interesting, especially with the ability of the Woodies to go after the ball. So they've got a chance, whereas I think the humans wouldn't have had so much of a chance. Sure hands pick up. He does have a nice screen. So a failure there wouldn't have been game ending, but it would have allowed the Woodies to put on a lot of pressure. And a really bad scatter could have had the Woodies picking the ball up. They are pretty fast. They can... In fact, maybe it didn't even need a really bad scatter. A failed pickup there is big trouble. Every overtime kickoff should be a blitz to make up for the toss in overtime. for winning the toss. Yeah. I mean, maybe it's even bigger than that. I mean, maybe that doesn't quite make up. Maybe it is huge, isn't it? I agree absolutely. And the mighty Blow War Dancer, I think, gets his first removal of the game. No, he got one. I think he got one turn 1. KO turn 1, and now he gets his second one. So that puts it on 10 apiece. And the Woody's about lineman. The humans have lost 2 of their guard blitzers. So Dionysian has the better team on the pitch by quite a long way. It's a lot more SPP, a lot more not SPP, team value in these guys. So this is certainly not over, not by a long shot. Could see a pretty exciting overtime period. But yeah, it was a nice time. If you're going to get removals, then oh, here comes another one. Just a stun. But yeah, the Blitz thing. It would be interesting, that, wouldn't it? Because then as well, the other thing is if you have the ball, if you're receiving, then you know there's a Blitz coming. So it would be interesting. Of course, some coaches feel like there's no possible option to try and defend against a Blitz. I feel like there's always something you can do. I feel like ultimately maybe you have to play things a bit safer. Maybe you have to be a little bit more, a little bit less invested in taking blocks on the LOS. But you can usually make a nice wide setup that has a double screen along most of it. Force your opponent to go around the edges, right around the edges. Yeah, absolutely. The reroll advantage is not just for turning the ball over. And in fact, given that the penalty rule is in, then maybe Dionysian will be pretty reticent to use the rerolls on ball attacks. Okay, that's an interesting one, yeah. So yeah, as I said earlier on, or as I alluded to, every single team. Interesting Blitz. I feel like if you're making a 1D, then maybe you just don't Blitz. So what could you have made a 2D? I mean, I appreciate that he wanted 4 guys around the ball, and absolutely, you shouldn't even be thinking about the Blitz at this stage, right? Until you've got that, so fair enough. And these 2 are really nice, aren't they, because of the screen? So fair enough. But then maybe you block with the then maybe you Blitz with the Ogre, or you just don't Blitz. Did the Ogre move that turn? I'm not sure. If he moved, I would have blitzed with him. If he didn't, then I don't think I would have blitzed. Yeah. So yeah. Right now, you always take the receive, right? You always take the ball. But it would be interesting, I guess. I mean, I suppose if your opponent's down players, if your opponent's not in a good position in your Elves, then having them receive the ball is and you get the Blitz. It's like, okay, that's great, but it still would just be better if I received the ball. But then you get a Blitz. Yeah. So yeah, maybe, especially if you don't have many players either. Maybe both players, both coaches, both teams are really low on players. Then kick it to your opponent because you get it high up the field, and because they have not many players you can get through with your few players. You only need 2 players in range. You can pick the ball up. You can catch the ball or pick it up the next turn, and you're done. I mean, in that situation, maybe just having the ball up the pitch is more important than being able to move all your players, or being able to take the LOS box. Basically, that's basically what it comes down to, isn't it? A Blitz versus having the first turn, and you don't directly get the ball, and the ball might not be in range. You might get like a deep kick. So I mean, if you had a kicker, maybe kick would become a better skill. I guess it would, wouldn't it? If you know you're going to get to overtime, And the ogre activation. Now he goes for the block. I think that might be the first ogre block he's done the entire game. That's some discipline for you. And of course, in perfect big guy style, the ogre fails the first block his attempts. You really stupid ogre. So it could be interesting. That not a bad suggestion. Interesting suggestion. Yeah, exactly. My thoughts with declining the blitz. Exactly. Yep, I agree. All the other games are done. Starting round 2. Okay, fine, great. Thanks, Gdanik. We'll start that one straight away once this one's over. So this one's going on the longest of all the other games. That's interesting. There were quite a few turns, I think, in the regular time when both coaches were cutting it short with a turn time, with a time counter thingy. So I guess this one has gone on quite a while, and of course now with it going to overtime. How long have we been going? It's 23 minutes past 7. We started at 6. So I saw Dionysian saying, I think it was Dionysian or somebody saying, well, somewhere that Blitz pit games do in fact take about as long as regular CCL games, which seems to be very much the case for this game. 1 hour and now 24 minutes into the game. Probably about 1 hour and 10 minutes when we started overtime. So that's about average for a CCL game, I think, which has 2-minute turn times. So it's interesting with all the 15-second chunks, and with players being able to sort of exploit the last 5 seconds of the clock to make a bunch of moves, and the clock stopping when players move or act. It's almost like the 1 minute turn. The effect is more of a psychological one than anything else. You know, it's you can have as much time as you want. I guess what it cuts down on is like initial thinking time. Once you start making the play, you can drag that out as long as you want, but you don't have as long before you need to start making your plays. Yeah, Dale was at 1 and 0s, and I think Good Time was similar actually. So they've both been pushing the clock hard, trying to get every second they can. So after this game, we'll look briefly at the bracket, see what these two players move on to. Of course, it is a double elimination tournament, so both of them will be playing another game. Both the winner and the loser still can reach the final and still can win the competition. So we'll have to check out the bracket. We'll check out 2 of the round 1 matches to check out the results from those. We know who the winners are, Rhaegar and Genie. I think those are both Rebel coaches, I'm guessing, or maybe so from some other leagues. I'm not sure that I'm that familiar with their names from CCL, etc. We'll check out the scores from their games, find out who they beat, and then we'll jump into their game. So the Ogre slightly redeemed himself. The Ogre does go for the Blitz this time. I like this. You know, he doesn't want to move his other players around too much without the ball being safe. He's got the Ogre free, and the Ogre's got Mighty Blow, and here he managed to make a 3D. So I don't hate the Ogre blitzes at all. And he doesn't bonehead, he doesn't turn over. And now he's starting on 3 Elves. He's doing quite a bit of work this turn. So the ball's perfectly safe. Of course, from Good Time's perspective, being safe isn't enough. I mean, for now, sure. But of course his worry is he's only got 4 turns left. There are 10 Elves left on the pitch. To his 9 humans. Sorry, to his 10 humans. To his 10 humans. It's going to be hard to push through them. And if he doesn't, he only has 1 reroll to Dionysian's 3. Here comes another stun. Yep. Of course, the stun is better than a KO or worse. But it's still bad, especially if you're going to need to start moving forward at some point. Keeps the humans bogged down. I suspect Dionysian will be very happy at this point. Maybe he's favourite to win this right now. At this stage in the drive, still equal men. I think that's good for the Elves. In fact, some humans on the ground. Barely any progress made by Good Time. I mean, he's up to the halfway line, which is okay. Catcher is on the outside, ready to make some kind of move, perhaps. Of course, don't need to do that yet. Still got 4 turns. What's Dionysian doing here? Is he... I'm kind of surprised he's gone in on the Ogre. He tried to punch the Ogre in the first half. Will he stand himself up? Surely not. Surely not. He's surely not going for the 2D. Oh, he stands the Elf up. He's going for the 2D. Incredible scenes. He gets the Ogre. I mean, whatever he does, if the Ogre doesn't bonehead, this guy's screwed, right? Because either he moves this one and the Ogre can 2D him, or if this guy stays here, well, I guess the Ogre could 2D him anyway. Although Good Time probably wouldn't want 2 guys crammed in here because it would leave him in a very poor position. But now he only needs 1 guy in. He can make a cage, keep these 5 humans together, surf the catcher, not the catcher, the Lino. Question is, how much does Dionysian care about that? It seems like Good Time doesn't really care about that. Because ultimately, losing a Lino at this stage of the game, in exchange for your opponent making absolutely no progress whatsoever, maybe not a bad trade. So, Dionysian happy to put the life of his line off at risk for the greater good. Well, welcome to try 1 minute turns on fumble. I've thought about trying fumble out. I might do at some point. I love the idea of all these like crazy teams and stuff they have. I love all the variation, like in Blood Bowl in general. And there's some seems like there are some very stupid teams in fumble. I'd love to have a go. My problem is that like if I was going to play more Blood Bowl, oof, wow, this is big, isn't it? He has to. Yeah, I think he has. Does he have to re-roll it? Oh, and the removal. So the 1D is pretty easy. I mean, the 1D is, you know, it's a 2D into a 1D on the ball, right? Can he do better? No. Is there a chain or something? I don't know. Probably too much of a commitment even if there was a chain. So I think if you're going to go for anything... Oh, attacks the Ogre again. Gets the dual skulls this time. I'm not... Like, he moved in an extra guy and he gets the stun, so it's a big payoff. It works out for him. I'm not sure about all the hits on the Ogre. I'd have tempted just to, like, you know, say, you know, the Ogre is going to put me under pressure. The Ogre's going to do things, you know, he's going to be on Elves and things, but I'm just going to have to deal with that. I'm not sure about the attacks to him. But, you know, the stun is certainly fantastic. So now the War Dancer can clear this guy. Gets the POW, which he didn't necessarily need. Could have taken another hit. Was he in the right position? Should he have been there? Because if this was a push, then he wouldn't have been able to get someone in. He's going to be the wrestle guy. If he goes to the ball, which I guess he probably is. The thing is, he's got so many players left. Obviously the same as Good Time. Well, 1 up now, but for Elves, that's a lot of players. That he can screen pretty well, he can cover pretty well, and go for the hit. So I think he goes for the hit right, even without the reroll. Got 2 catchers to retrieve and screen, something like that. Again, like in the first half, only gets the push. 50% chance. Doesn't get it. Does he bother hitting the sidestepper? Oh, it's a 1D. Oh, the 1D comes in. Maybe again it's the time pressure. They've both been throwing a few 1Ds when I'm not sure about it. I think you just keep the pressure on here, right? You just keep the pressure on by having the 2 blodgers standing on this guy. How much do you gain by punching? I'm not sure it's a whole ton. And if you skull, then you can suddenly the humans can go around this side pretty easily. Removal. Stun was fine, was it? I can't remember now. You're probably right. Yeah, exactly. There's just not much to lose with still having such a good defense and being able to go for the hit. Opens it up with a pow on the catcher. A full pow. .3D this one out of the way. Ooh. I would have thought about the Blitz there. Blitz him. Because you need players, right? So I guess this guy... Ooh, he's on tackle. And there's no reroll. Oh, no, he didn't take the... he didn't take the... Oh! It was the boat, the skulls. The skulls opened it up. Yeah. I remember now. I thought you meant... Wow! Another one in 27. Well, I guess the first one was with the ogre, so it wasn't that important. Does go for the reroll this time. Yeah, it was the catcher sculling out and getting KO'd, right? So okay, so not getting KO'd would have been fine there. Okay. So here he does reroll a 1 in 27. Fails the dodge, of course. The war damage has tackle. Is it 2 turns left for the humans? 2 turns left for the humans. 0 rerolls. 2 turns for the elves. Almost full team of elves. 10 elves versus 9 humans. Alarm bells ringing right now. Alarm bells ringing really loudly for good time. This is trouble. I mean, this elf is yet to act. I mean, half of the players that are in range can be like cleared out of range or something. Maybe not out of range, but he can make it so difficult for a good time to get forwards. Yeah, this is very ominous, isn't it? So, humans received, but a lack of rerolls perhaps hurt them. You know, maybe he would have rerolled the double skulls. Maybe some not fantastic dice. Having said that, Dio himself had a double skulls on the ogre, which he was able to reroll because he had the extra rerolls left. Of course, with humans, you are just going to have to get a little bit rowdier than elves sometimes. You know, you maybe have to roll some more dice than elves. Even though the elves are probably, well, even though the elves were maybe rolling more dice, you know, the ones you're rolling with humans are harder, so maybe it's not a surprise that you end up more out of rerolls. I mean, Dio was definitely on for a fairly conservative approach with regards to attacking the ball, which I think is, you know, a good idea, especially in this format. Just putting pressure on is a really good play. Comes in on the ball now with an easy 2D, gets the power, gets the KO. Does he have a spare player somewhere? No, but does he go for the pickup? He does. I guess it's worth it, right? Because this now is just about as close to game over as you get, right? The ball on the blodger. The human's in terrible position. You know, how does he get 1 dice on him? Almost impossible to get 1 dice. I mean, it's going to need like a couple of 5+ dodges or something just to get 1 dice on him. So yeah, I guess it's a good idea. I guess some people can come on around here. I guess 2 dice is on. Get this catcher out of the way. Power into there. A couple of 3+ dodgers. But then that's, you know. Then, you know, you're looking for a pound ball, and you've not even started thinking about getting someone forward to score. And you're not even started thinking about retrieving the ball and getting you safe. So, after, I think, a fantastic game, we've seen some really nice moves by both coaches. In the end, the Elves kind of won it just by attrition, almost by attrition of, you know, of having the rerolls and maintaining the Elves. It wasn't so much a player attrition, although in the last couple of turns, you know, Good Time has lost a few guys. He is down 2 guys now compared to Dionysian, and of course being down the guys as the humans is tough. The Elves being, you know, on even men is hard enough to deal with. Never mind being up then. Having said that, with the Mighty Blow War Dancer, oh, and he runs out of time. I think the plan was to blitz this elf and get the blitz into range. He doesn't, so unless Dionysian somehow leaves him a chain push to get this catcher forwards, I mean this lineman forwards, it looks like this is GG. The elves take it. Oh wait, I was thinking we had the rule that they have in Clan Rebel, where you win if you defend and you don't get the touchdown. Of course, Dionysian still has to score the touchdown, but it's still looking pretty likely. He's got to make a dodge. If there's a snake here, he does have to make a dodge. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think he still has to make a 2+. I think it's still just about. Oh no, yeah. It's still possible to stop him, right? I mean, okay, even if he doesn't make a 2+, then it's still possible to stop. But it's he has like some 3+s to get the ball out, right? Here comes the 2+. He doesn't fail it, and now it's pretty much as good as over. I think that was an excellent game, some great play by both coaches. And yeah, in the end, the Elves maybe taking more blocks, but maybe not. I guess it was pretty even in the end, because the Elves got in quite a lot of hits on their defensive drives. And the Elves did have the Mighty Blow. The Mighty Blow against Armor 8, whereas the humans were punching without Mighty Blow against Armor 7, so you could expect the humans to have a little bit more luck with the player attrition. Of course, the humans did have a spare. But the elves did take it in the end, as I thought was slightly more likely. Just based on the fact, well, I say elves did take it in the end. We're not over yet. What am I talking about? We're not finished. We're not finished. But if the elves do take it, which is looking pretty likely, then I think that was always slightly more likely. Just because although the rule set is quite nice for humans, ultimately, the Edge 4 teams are just really strong, especially Wood Elves, right? Like the strongest team in the game, really. And now they're pretty close to taking this. So, and this is nice from Good Time. He's stopping the chain out. Now it's just a 1D on this blitzer. Could have chained the little bits off. So now it's a 2+ to go there. So I think the only option is just to make the dodge, unless I'm mistaken. I guess he could hit this guy, get this guy in. Not sure if that would be better though. He just takes the dodge and he scores. Dionysian takes the game. Round 1 match, he wins, and he moves on in the winners bracket, which we'll take a look at the moment. Good Time loses, but he stays in the tournament. He goes down to the losers bracket. He can still reach the final. He can still win the competition. And after he's played this game, which I thought was pretty top class, and there's no reason why he can't, but he's on his last life. Dionysian wins 2-1.